the world's most beautiful sport. America's national pastime since the 1850s. Today we have fastballs buzzing at 103 miles per hour and home runs traveling out of the park even faster. But there is a problem, and it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Stagnation. A game that in some ways has changed for the worse. Longer delays, less action, a declining television and in-stadium fan base. After a couple of hundred years, it was bound to happen. I fully believe baseball is currently at a tipping point, a crossroads, if you will. We can either aggressively attack the weaknesses of our great game or passively watch as some of our most loved aspects of it break down. What I'm going to do in this video is lay out what I believe is a simple way to cure some of what ails the game right now. But let me be clear, I do not believe baseball is broken. Quite the opposite. It's a beautiful game with millions of fans, a game that makes billions of dollars per year. One of baseball's greatest qualities is tradition. A game at Ebbets Field in 1940, in theory, could look a lot like a game at AT&T Park last Friday. In a world that seems to be evolving and changing at an increasingly rapid pace, baseball is the one constant salvation. Or so we think. Today's game is not the same game from the 1940s. In fact, today's game isn't even a carbon copy from a decade ago. This April, we had the first ever month of Major League Baseball that featured more strikeouts than hits. And as far as balls in play, we're on pace to have 10,000 fewer this season than just 9 years ago. Basically 10,000 times where the 7 defenders outside of the pitcher and catcher are deemed unnecessary. The following fix may seem extreme, I get that, but in the context of a game that's already changed from just 10 years ago, I believe it gets us to a better place. The lineup, now standing as a list of 9 players, exclusively filled with the 9 players from the field. That is until the American League adopted the DH in 1973 and we no longer witness the pitcher batting in AL games. My change eliminates the DH. It eliminates more than that. I propose MLB adopt a 6-man lineup. Your best 6 hitters and only your best 6 hitters hit. Altuve, Bregman, Correa, Springer, Gaddis, Gurriel, that's it. Judge, Stanton, Sanchez, Gregorius, Gardner, Torres, that's it. Betts, JD, Benintendi, Bogarts, Moreland, Devers, they're done. Baez, Bryant, Rizzo, Schwarber, Contreras, and Zobrist. Now picture yourself as an Angels fan and you pay $200 for box seats. In a normal game, you'd expect to see Mike Trout come to the plate, 4 times? But with a 6-man lineup, you could fully expect 7 or even 8 at-bats from the 2-time MVP. Or say you're watching a Cubs-Nationals game on TV from the comfort of your own home. With the 6-man lineup, now you get to see Max Scherzer battle Chris Bryant 3 times within the first hour. Now here's how a typical scorecard could look. Let's go with the Yankees, for example. The first inning features a Gary Sanchez 2-run home run. Aaron Judge leads off the first and second innings and gets another plate appearance in the third. That inning features 4 runs and the Yankees batting around. A couple of 1-2-3 innings after that, followed by another big scoring output in the 6th. We've given the Yankees more runs in the 9th than multiple at-bats from Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. When it's all said and done, Judge and Stanton went to the plate 8 times each and hit in all but 2 of the innings. As you see, there are some obvious benefits to the 6-man lineup. If you enjoy watching great hitters, and who doesn't, you'd get more of that. But as I'm sure you've already realized, it also introduces a change on the defensive side. Since you'd still need 9 players in the field, this would create the need for 3 defensive specialists. Perhaps a center fielder, shortstop, and pitcher who only play in the field and do not bat. Or 2 outfielders and a pitcher if you prefer. Or when Madison Bumgarner is on the mound, you let him hit and use your designated fielders elsewhere. The benefit on the defensive side is clear, creating spots for players who can wow fans on a nightly basis without having the responsibility to produce on the offensive side, opening up the game to supreme athletes who need not worry about their offensive numbers. The game is better with Billy Hamilton playing center field, but the Reds arguably are not when he hits below 200 with a sub-300 on-base percentage. Why not let the specialists shine? without anything holding him back. It'd be insane to think football would be a better sport if Tom Brady were required to play both quarterback and safety, or if J.J. Watt was tasked with learning the offensive blocking scheme along with playing defensive end. 3 defensive specialists do what you do and go play amazing defense. So that's my idea, the 6-man lineup. Much would remain the same, pinch hitting, pinch running, defensive replacements, all still valid strategies. Really, when you think about it, it doesn't change as much as has been discussed elsewhere. You've heard ideas about limiting the shift, lowering the mound, moving the fences, limiting relievers. The 6-man lineup change does none of that. It just alters which players are doing what, when, and where. I do believe this change would almost certainly fix some of baseball's fundamental problems right now. With only your 6 best hitters batting, we'd see an increase in balls put into play, an increase in productive offensive outcomes, the best pitchers facing the best hitters more often. These are the benefits, but as I said before, baseball is a game of tradition. I get that. Any change will be hard, and certainly implementing any change that affects baseball's most sacred records might seem almost dead on arrival. With the increased at-bats, it's not a reach to think that Bryce Harper would flirt with 80 home runs in a season, or that Jose Altuve could approach 300 hits. Yes, the old records would be eclipsed and new records would be born. But I wonder if that's such a bad thing. Baseball's steroid era already muddied the talk around some of the game's most sacred records. Barry Bonds' home run mark will never be as revered as Hank Aaron's. Even Aaron's record wasn't as revered as Ruth's. Hack Wilson's 191 RBIs came in a season when the baseballs were, some say, wound with Australian wool, creating a ripe scoring environment and making it basically incomparable to anything happening in today's game. The point being, these records are just memories of a different game that need not be compared to what's happening on the field today. I believe it would be refreshing to begin creating a new set of revered numbers in a new era of Major League Baseball, all while remembering and appreciating the records of the past. Which leads to my final point, marketability. Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, Buster Posey hitting every other inning is good for the marketability of the player and the game. For years, baseball players have struggled to reach the type of fame as their fellow NFL and NBA players. That's a problem if you're a Major League Baseball player, which we are not. It's also a problem, though, if you want your favorite sport to be able to attract the participation and attention of the world's best athletes, which we do. And ultimately, that's the key. Attention. Making sure a baseball fan today will still be a baseball fan 1, 2, 5, 10 years from now. It's a beautiful game, and that's why it's worth changing. Oh, and one more thing. A pitch clock. Add a pitch clock, too.